With excitement, we open the book of Devarim. We have reached the fifth and final book of the Torah. Here begins Moses' great farewell address. At first, we may think we are about to read nothing more than a summary of 40 years of history, but the Torah has a very different purpose. As we begin to read, we realize that this is far more than an ancient account. It is our own story, speaking personally to each of us at the very moment we open its pages. The Parashat begins, "These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel." Although we may have begun reading in the synagogue or in the comfort of our own home, our surroundings suddenly disappear. The Torah transports us to the plains of Moab. Before us flows the Jordan River. On the other side lies the Promised Land. Around us stand thousands of Israelites waiting in silence. And before them all stands Moses. We know this will be the last words we will ever hear from him. Then we look around and notice something we may never have considered before. The people standing beside us were not in Egypt either. They did not see the sea split open. They did not witness Mount Sinai erupt in fire. They did not gather the manna during its first years, nor did they watch Korach's rebellion as adults. They were born afterward. They grew up hearing these stories from the lips of their parents. They know about the sea, Sinai, and the manna, but only because someone told them. And suddenly we realize that we are exactly like them. We were not there either. We too have received these stories from those who came before us. Yet something astonishing happens. Moses begins to speak. He does not say, "Your fathers crossed the sea," or "they received the Torah." He speaks as though everyone standing before him had personally lived through those events. Why? Because the Torah is revealing one of the deepest secrets of Israel's identity. In Judaism, memory is not merely about remembering, it's about belonging. Every generation receives the story of those who came before until it becomes its own. We inherit far more than historical events. We inherit a covenant. As we listen to Moses, we stop thinking that we are simply recalling the past. Instead, we discover that we are being drawn into it. The Sfat Emet explains that the Torah never speaks only about yesterday. Perhaps that is why the verse begins by saying, "These are the words," not "these were the words." Because the voice of Moses never stopped speaking. Every time a Jew opens the Torah with a sincere desire to listen, those words are spoken once again. The revelation did not end at Sinai. It continues here, now, at this very moment. As we continue listening, Moses begins to recall the people's failures. But Rashi points out something remarkable. He does not mention their sins directly. Instead, he refers to the places where they occurred. Even in his final rebuke, Moses protects the honor of Israel. We begin to understand that a true teacher does not use the past to humiliate. He uses it to heal, to prepare the future. And that is exactly what Moses is doing. The Maharal of Prague explains that this entire generation had grown up in a world sustained by miracles. Now they were about to enter a land where they would have to sow, work, fight, and wait for the rain. God's presence would remain with them, but it would no longer be so obvious. Moses was not preparing them merely to enter a new country. He was preparing them to leave behind a spiritual childhood and to learn how to live with a mature faith. Perhaps as we read, we realize that this is our story as well. We do not live surrounded by visible miracles. Our calling is to discover God's presence precisely where He seems hidden, in an honest decision, in a mitzvah performed with love, in everyday faithfulness. Then we recognize another remarkable paradox. Those young people who had never witnessed the great miracles, yet they possess something their parents never had, the opportunity to learn from their parents' mistakes. Perhaps this is one of Devarim's greatest lessons. Spiritual maturity is not only about learning from our own failures, it's about allowing ourselves to be transformed by the experience of those who walked before us. The Or HaChaim adds a striking insight. Devarim is not simply a repetition of the Torah. It is the moment when Moses teaches the people how to continue studying after he is gone. They will no longer be able to depend constantly on their teacher. Instead, they must learn to find the voice of God within the Torah itself. The Netziv explains that this is why Devarim is the book of uprightness. It is not enough to know the mitzvot. We must shape an upright heart. We must become people capable of living according to God's will, even when no one tells us exactly what to do. Then we remember the words of the Kotzker Rebbe. The greatest distance in the world is the distance between the ear and the heart. Everyone heard Moses, but not everyone would allow his words to transform their lives. What about us? What are we going to do? The Zohar answers with a moving image. It teaches that Moses never stopped teaching. His body left this world, but his voice remains alive every time the Torah is studied. Perhaps this is why, when we open the Devarim, we do not feel as though we are reading an ancient farewell speech. Instead, we find ourselves sitting once again before our teacher. Then we also understand the teaching of Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik. It is not enough simply to belong to the people of Israel. That is our inheritance. The real question is whether we will embrace the mission or not. Will we make the covenant we have inherited our own? We reach the end of the address. Moses falls silent. The Jordan still lies before us. We have not yet crossed it. The Torah has intentionally placed us in exactly the same position as those children of the wilderness. They had not lived the story, neither have we. They had to decide whether the story of their parents would also become their own. We must make exactly the same decision. For the true protagonist of the book of Devarim was never Moses. It is the person who opens the book and discovers that the words were spoken to him. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach.